Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Well, we are so excited to welcome Rev Karen Russo today. She is an award-winning author of The Money Keys. With her background as a Columbia University MBA, a corporate leadership trainer, and an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister, Karen shares from decades of insight and experience in both the secular and spiritual realms. Wonderful. After training with Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith at the Agape Center and Holmes Institute, she served for over 10 years at the New Vision Center in North Phoenix. She's been a welcome guest here at Unity of Houston before and a longtime prayer partner with Reverend Michael Gott. Today, she works with spiritual seekers and business owners throughout the world who want both spiritual inspiration and practical tools to live with more peace, freedom, and abundance. Please give a warm, sweaty welcome to Unity today to Reverend Karen Russo.
We're gonna hug. Wow, good morning. Good morning. So, worthy, wealthy, worldly. We're going to explore the spiritual reality of worth and wealth, identity and value, so that we can discover new ways of showing up in the world. How do you want to, knowing your worth and your wealth, be a contribution to the world right now? Because when we do this, when we share from the spiritual truth, it's a blessing to us and a contribution to the world that needs us at our best. Do you want that? Yes, thank you. Yes, I do too. And we're going to begin with a story from Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 16. And Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is like one who is a householder, who hires laborers to work in his vineyard." So Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like one who is a householder, who went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. Now, of course, that could be his vineyard or her vineyard or their vineyard, so choose the pronouns, you're in the story. And if you are in recovery like me and vineyard is kind of not your deal, think coffee house. Coffee house. And if you're professionally dedicated to fair employment and labor practices, I should say, trigger warning, this story, if interpreted literally, could have some sketchy details. But this is a community that understands that spiritual stories are for the symbolic nature of spiritual growth for all of us, yes? Yes. Okay. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is like one who is a householder who went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into the vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again, he went out about the 6th and the 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing idle, and said to them, Why ye stand here idle all day? They said unto him, Because no one has hired us. And he said, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that you shall receive. So when evening had come, the Lord of the vineyard said to his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning with the last unto the first. And when they came, that had come around the 11th hour, they received every one a denarius. But when the first came, they supposed they should have received more, and they likewise received every one a denarius. And when they first came, they murmured after they received it. They murmured against the Lord of the house, saying, "These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which has borne the burden in the heat of the day." But the Lord answered them and said, "Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst thou not agree with me for a denarius? Take that as thine, go thy way. I will give unto the last, even as unto thee. Is it not lawful that I should do what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil because I am good?" And so the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many are called, but few are chosen. And so, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Many are called, but few are chosen. So what's happening in this story? I mean, many of us can relate to the various human roles in the story. I know in my professional and growth life, I certainly have related to those first hour laborers who are like, Mr. Householder, excuse me, these got more, they got less, what's fair, talking to the refs. I've certainly been in that role. Have you all had that where you're like, I worked this, but I'm looking around to see what other people have done? And that energy can have us be feeling kind of fearful or resentful or thinking that the only way we can get ahead is hard work. And then I'm sure some of us relate to the 11th hour, where the folks will say, I've maybe missed out. Maybe I'm a late bloomer. Maybe something's passed me by. I could be feeling like I'm missing something. And then I feel relief if I can get something at the end. And then some of us might relate to the householder who says, I want to have choice to give and receive what is mine. Jesus is telling us, though, that this is a story not just about exchange of labor for denarius, that this is a story about the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven is giving in a way that is far beyond just work and effort for money. And that's the foundation of our worth and our wealth. So let's talk about worth. This story also gives us a place to understand the law of agreement. So it's a foundational principle of unity, a foundational principle of religious science, which is my background, that consciousness creates experience. That the sum total of our beliefs, our emotion, our thought, often held in place by conversation and intensity and repetition, that is what we get in life. So even if circumstances come and go, it's our thought about it that creates what happens to us. So that idea that what I agree with is what I receive shows up when we see that if we have an agreement with life, like for years mine was, I can have what I want if I work hard and struggle. Is that just me? Did anybody else have that? Okay, it's like yeah. So, it wasn't like the kids earlier today who's like, they're getting money for hugs. I was like working hard, So if I have that agreement, I can have what I want if I work hard and struggle, my experience of life gave me that experience. The law of agreement says yes. If I'm working, currently, present day, my continued evolution is, I, Karen, live in the riches of the present moment, and that my contribution is richly rewarded. Like, I really try to understand that just by who I am, there's a circulation of value. So I'm going to invite you to come with me on a little reflection about worth. And this is in many ways taking the beautiful song that Siobhan just sang, asking, are you willing to discover your worth beyond just your demographics and attributes? So here we go. I'd like you to just kind of bring your attention to yourself. And if you want to half close your eyes or just soften your gaze, you can. And definitely for my friends who are on the live streaming, do this in your living room as you're partaking in the message, is feel your identity and appreciate all of the things like, it's good if I show up regularly at Unity and I tithe generously and I give service. That's part of maybe who you are. And then there's the demographic attributes and professional accomplishments and the history, and maybe you've had luck or privilege or experiences that have been positive. You've got the possessions you have or don't have. All of that can be part of identity. But in that song, Siobhan, one of the things she sang was, are you willing to leave all of that on the altar? So in your mind's eye, you can almost take a little half step back, and everything that is an attribute of who you are, just place it upon the altar of the divine. You get it back in a moment. And just feel that the essence of who you are has value and worth. That because you are, you're worthy. Just feel the kingdom of heaven includes you. Can you feel a glimmer of that? Your sweet, precious worth. It's wonderful, isn't it? So give a little yes to yourself, and if you want to say it out loud, you can. Yes. Yes, I can feel it and I can hear it. Good. And then go ahead and step forward and take back all of your attributes. And I certainly don't want to give a mixed message that you shouldn't show up at Unity or tithe generously or do service hours. There's no mixed message here. You don't have to do that to be worthy, but when you do, it matters, right? Yeah. So that's your worth. And you might even say out loud, repeat after me, I am worthy. Good. And now, because we don't just do our spiritual work individually, because we are connected through a law of oneness and unity, give a little glance, if you're here in the sanctuary, a little glance around the sanctuary. If you are on the live stream, a little glance around the animal companions or beloveds who are with you, or tell the people in the chat. Give a little, you are worthy. So give a little love to somebody. Shine a little, bestow and behold their worth. Somebody you know and somebody you don't know. Worthy, yes. Isn't it delightful to just behold each other as worthy? Yes. So worthiness. And then let's talk about wealth. And the story of the laborers in the vineyard has a lot to do about time and money. Time and money. So often when we hear the teaching, the last shall be first and the first shall be last, it's meant to be a comfort that no matter when we come to the divine rushes forward to us. That's also a lesson of the prodigal son story too as well. It's like, it doesn't, if we are at the 11th hour, we get the full measure. And so that is a beautiful piece that invites us to realize that the supply of the presence of God is not exclusive and it's not time limited. The call is always happening, and the supply is invisible, ever present, and always nourishing us. Yes. And I so appreciate being here. Thank you. And you heard about my background, just decades of both being in the money and wealth communities and then being in spiritual community, recovery and spiritual community. And I've always had the desire to see how those things go together. I've always been interested. How does God and money come up together? Because what I was noticing, and I'm sure you all have seen this, is I would come into spiritual community and I would see a high desire for abundance consciousness. And I would see affirmative prayer and a desire to have positive thinking about supply. But then I would also notice that people were a little light on habits and tactics, and sometimes would struggle with, sort of the basics of managing money effectively. I'm just being a little bit real. Everybody's okay? Yeah, okay. Okay. Then I would go into the wealth building environments, and I would see like tons of strategies and tactics and ideas for building wealth, and a whole lot about like millionaire mindset. I've got a rich mind, not a poor mind, but a little light on let me surrender to something greater and be in a high state of spiritual discovery. Yeah? So again, I'm just being a little, am I being a little real? Is that, okay, okay. So beautiful environments, the spiritual communities and the wealth communities, but what I felt is, couldn't there be an integrated, holistic approach? And that's what my original work, The Money Keys, is all about. It's a holistic approach, spirituality, beliefs, and habits, because my discovery, and I know that you all have seen it too, is that we have an empowered experience of what I would call spiritual money mastery when we include spiritual inspiration, vision, purpose, surrender. When we also have prayer, affirmation, mindset, conversation, and we have habits and systems that are in integrity and in the flow. Yes? So that's the technology for accessing the wealth that is already there. Because really, wealth is less about possession or accumulation. Wealth is an experience of the opulence of the divine. And wealth is ever available. One of the distinctions that I find is really important too is to think about the idea of something I call money purpose. And money purpose is your answer to the question, what's the money for? Because really, a spiritual experience of wealth is not so much about the money. It's about finding your answer to the question, what's the money for? What's the purpose, the intention, the direction of money in my life? How is it serving? And many of you know our beloved Reverend Edwene Gaines, Unity Minister, Prosperity Teacher. She has the simplest form of money purpose I've ever heard, and it's so powerful. She says, I serve God, money serves me. Yeah, pretty direct, right? And for those that come to the workshop this afternoon, we're going to give you an opportunity to explore what's your fresh answer to what's the money for? What's the money purpose that you want to serve right now? When you have a sense that your money serves something greater, there's more clarity, there's more confidence, you're better able to take the risks you need to take. It empowers you. I also feel like our New Thought, Ancient Wisdom teachings are evolving when it comes to wealth and prosperity and abundance. Because, maybe level one is I give something and receive my denarius. The next level is, I feel connected to the source through which the channels flow. And what I feel is emerging for us is to understand that wealth is our nature. Just like worth is our nature, wealth is our nature. And that the attributes of who we are already rich. And so just like we did with worth, I'm going to invite you to just soften your gaze, turn a little bit within, and feel awareness for the supply that is already and always giving. Maybe over the last few years, you have been supplied in ways that were surprising or beneficial that you couldn't even imagine. Feel that sense that wealth is an abundance and a supply that is beyond effort. And tap into at least one thing that reminds you and anchors the truth that you were supplied opulent, lavish, abundant reality. And when you have that, say a little yes. Let's hear a little yes. Good. And we'll even say, you can repeat after me, I am wealthy. Yes. Do you believe that? Yes. And now we'll do the same thing where shine your wealth understanding, bestow and behold with another. So just like in your living room or in the chat there online or here in the sanctuary, look at someone else. You are wealthy. Tell them. Yeah, you are wealthy. Yeah. And do you believe them? I mean, right, that they're saying it about you. I believe it. You believe it. Okay. So worthy and wealthy. And our final question is, how do we engage with the world? You know, what is the calling for being in the world right now? And I so appreciate that beautiful prayer for an acknowledgement for all the challenges that we're facing. So just the human density that's up right now, the war and economic pressures, environmental pressures, brutality and injustice, and just the call for healing in so many ways, so much division, so much pain. And I am fully aware. The kittens are still adorable, the kids are adorable, the sun is still shining, like the good has not gone anywhere. The good is still the good. And in human history, there have been horrific periods of density and challenge. So I'm not minimizing any of that. And, you know, it's thick out there. I mean, just, it is. And sometimes it's tempting to come to a spiritual message or a spiritual community in the search of comfort or escape or distraction during times like this. And I don't want to minimize, there may be folks who come or hear a message like this or hear a prayer or come to a Wednesday night experience and it's just relief that you feel, that there's some love or some connection. That's very important. And I really do believe that if you are here now, you are part of those of us who want to not just feel comfort, not just be distracted, but to really be about the spiritual solution. So the final thing I want to leave you with as we think about engaging with the world is the difference between being mostly a consumer versus being a creator. Consumer versus creator. Consumers are the ones who buy. They're the students, they're the members, they're participating, they're kind of watching consumers. And being a consumer is a good thing. There are times when all of us are wanting to be educated, we want to be the student, we want to be the follower, and it's the right time for us to do that. So consumer is good. Creators are the ones who are the teachers, the originators, the leaders. They're the ones who are the sellers. They're the ones who are the producers of the thing. And being a creator is good. And there are times when it's your call to be the creator. And I feel like right now, and especially for this beautiful community, it's this ironic time where your beloved minister is refreshing and recharging. It's ironic, paradoxical, but I would call you, me, since I'm feeling this in my own life, all of us, into seeing where have I been kind of content to be a consumer, where have I been watching, where have I been kind of holding back, hoping that somebody else shows up and takes care of it, and instead step in. I know I am worthy because of my spiritual identity. I know I am wealthy because of spiritual supply. And therefore, I am going to step in and take some creator energy in my life. Like maybe I'm going to forgive first. Like maybe I'm going to show up and help with something where it feels a little awkward, but I know they need some volunteers. Maybe I have never had my blood drawn, but I am going to come next week and I'm going to do it. Where can you step up to contribute, be a creator, make a difference, be a leader? It feels to me like those are the opportunities that will not only help you and me individually grow, but that absolutely show, like by demonstrating, that it's possible for all of us to rise together. Where can you serve the world by being a creator? Okay. It feels a little quiet. Are you feeling, is it a little challenging, or does it feel like exciting, or a little bit of both? Both. Okay, both. Okay, good. You know, you want to, what is it they say? You want to like comfort the afflicted and then afflict the comfortable, but you don't want to do too much of that, right? It's like, all right, so I just want to do a little bit of a call, like excited, and I'm okay if it's excited and challenged. That's okay. Yeah. So that's the message about you beautiful, beautiful beings. I see each and every one of you, that your worth comes from spiritual identity. You're precious. I know that your wealth, it's from spiritual supply. It's ever giving. And I believe that each and every one of you and me and all of us, we are welcomed by a world that absolutely wants us on spiritual purpose. We can do this. I believe in you. Peace and blessings. Yeah. Let us pray. So how grateful I am to recognize that the infinite presence of God is the one life, one infinite, loving, creative power. That the one life of God is all the love and the supply. It is the truth and the wholeness, peace and right action. It is freedom. It is good. And it is one life as me, as all, that each and every one of us is connected to this beautiful, creative whole. And it is in that reality of our oneness with the truth that I speak this word today. What I claim and know is that for this beautiful community and for all who are connected to this message, that there is a deepening understanding of our precious spiritual identity, and that worthiness bubbles up as self-love and contribution and kindness and generosity, which is a balm to the world. I claim and know that we are deeply accepting the reality of our wealth, that our abundance, prosperity, supply is spiritual substance expressed through conscious, generous giving, through circulation in the highest and best. And I know that we love, reveal, and bless the world by showing up who we are. I'm so grateful that this prayer is acted upon by a law that says, yes, I give great thanks knowing that it is so. We release it, we let it be, we trust the law, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Watching this message today, I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.